Welcome to First and Goal, where everything is made up and the points don't matter. Get ready for the latest and hottest topics in the SML. Let's get started. Here's your host, Mad Bomber.
All right, SML, welcome to this week's episode of First and Goal. This week, we're brought to you by Jedi Fallen Order.
Wasn't always like this. But now, there are 3 rules to survive. Don't stand out. Accept the past. Trust no one. The galaxy's changed. Whatever you do, don't reach within. Don't stand out. Accept the past.
Execute Order 66.
Trust no one. Trust only in the Force.
All right, so we just saw a good trailer for Jedi Fallen Order. Most of you should be playing it by now. Just 4 of us not playing it. This week's episode, though, we've got DW, Faz, Doink, and Matt. How's everybody doing tonight?
Great.
Oh, well.
All right,
Good, Bomber.
we're going to start with you, DW. We talked about earlier, a couple episodes ago about should we be calling the NFC just Dan and Faz? We've seen Dan collapse again. Should we just maybe be calling the NFC just Faz's division? What do you think, DW?
We should. 100% belongs to Faz,
Solid
my
answer.
dude. But yeah. No, I love Dan, man. Dan's a good dude, but it's Faz. It's all about Faz, and it's all about Faz's NFC South, right? Twink? Sorry.
Okay. Faz, what do you think?
I appreciate the love. I wish I could call it my division, but I couldn't even tell you last time I won it. All the vacations weren't helping with that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not ready to take Dan out of the 2-team race term there. When it comes down to it, this is the first playoffs that we won't be playing each other. Shout out to Doink for that. Do appreciate it. It'll be nice not having to face 1,800 runs in a game, a little less than that. So, first playoff not playing him. And it's not like I've dominated him. I mean, I have in the win-loss column. But every game has been one score. Maybe there was one that was 10 points for playoffs. So, I mean, the games have been close. One playoff game that he loses early, I don't think takes him fully out of the race. But it is true so far. I am a bit of a gatekeeper in the NFC here.
Yeah, hasn't been to a Super Bowl since season 1. Doink, what do you think?
I think you said it best at the beginning. It's Faz's division. No matter what, it runs through the NFC South. I think in general, I mean, obviously kind of playing spoiler here, taking Dan out, but I got kind of lucky. I played like dog shit the first half of that game. It's Dan. It's Faz. I mean, Faz is absolutely number one. Dan's firmly in that 2 spot, and then it's whatever me or Clint can muster up, which we hit on a season. That's entirely possible. I don't think that's going to be an every season thing. So essentially, I mean, I don't think it's a 2-team race. It's like a 2-team, and whichever one of me or Clint wants to show up and maybe do something or play spoiler. That's kind of where I'm at with that. But Dan did a nice job and rolled over for me.
Matt, what do you think?
Ollie.
Yeah, it's a 2-team race. Every once in a while somebody gets lucky. Meats beat you, Bomber. Doesn't necessarily make Meats a contender. Doink has played Dan twice a year since post blip. Knows them well. Those things are primed for upsets. At the end of the day, if Faz and Dan weren't in the same division, I mean, you're looking at the 1 and the 2 seed every single season. The only chance the NFC really has is that they play each other and one of them knocks each other out, with the exception of this season. I expect Faz to beat Doink. It's not just Faz, though. They always play great games. It always comes down to one of them, and it always will in the NFC.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I think lately, I mean, since season 1, it's always come down to one team that ends up walking away with it. So just curious if people are thinking that's just a Faz conference at this point, and Dan is solidly the number 2 team, but that gap is pretty big, in my opinion, at this point. But let's move on to topic 2. Topic 2, we'll start with Faz with this one. We've talked about other guys that have folded worse than Meats. That was a topic a couple shows ago. I think Prime even said that there was a new folding chair. Was Paulie's performance yesterday, missing 2 iced field goals, was that enough to just cement him as the new folding chair? And we'll go with you, Faz.
Yeah, so he's not going to live that one down for a while, as he shouldn't. He had everything he could have possibly wanted to win that game. Couldn't pull it out. Ice kicks are not easy, as Doink will tell you. But I think he missed from the 28 and from the 9. At least when Doinked it, it was like from 55 out. So he gets much more of a pass. Paulie does not. Here's the thing, though. As far as the new folding chair, he's not the new folding chair, and that's because Meats still hasn't gone away. He's had plenty of chances. He did get the one win against you, Bomber, but as a whole, I mean, we just saw he really had a chance. He could have shed the folding chair. He could have passed the torch on, everything he's ever wanted. Played a great game against D-Muse. He actually gets the ball first in overtime, wins the toss. Not only did he not score a point, not only did he not score a first down, he didn't get a yard. He went backwards, 3 and out, gives the ball back to D-Muse, and then the rest is history, as Lamar Wood just went and did his thing. But, I mean, Meats, prime opportunity to pass the torch, and now we just have 2 folding chairs instead of 1.
All right, what do you think, Doink?
I don't think he took the new folding chair mantra. He most definitely took the worst kicker in the SML mantra, which I am very grateful for him for that one. That being said, he needs a better name that we can make a missed kick punt or something off of, because Paulie there's nothing there. Assistant coach Paulie, that's not quite Doink face, and that one's never ever leaving, and that's okay. But no, that was a collapse of epic proportions. He had some incredible balls literally bounce his way off of John Ross, I believe. Everything
Catch
came
the ball,
up.
John.
He's just there to be fast. Everything came up Paulie's way, and he had not 1 but 2 chances to at least extend the game and make a NFC conference championship game that would have had neither Faz nor Dan. And at that point, I think that would have answered our first questions. Both of them are falling apart, but of course, as it would be, nobody can make a clutch kick against Faz. I don't know what he did, who he paid off, what it is, but yeah, the snap. That's what he's doing. He's just over there snapping by himself to the beat. But
it's working.
Paulie's officially the new worst kicker in the league. Meats holds on to the folding chair after Lamar Wood hit him over the head with the folding chair. So that's where I'm at with that.
All right, Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that he cemented himself as the new folding chair, but because he already is. He has already been the new folding chair. He cemented that pre-blip. You look at Paulie look at him last cycle. He was in a division with PJ, Noel, and Latin. Did nothing. I mean, he probably won the division every time, but did nothing. I got there. He did nothing. the first cycle of Madden 22, he had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in an NFC that was as weak as it could possibly be. It had QP with a disastrous Lions team. He did nothing. And we all know what happened season 2. He's in another weaker division, although DW is a step up from everyone else I've mentioned. It's not Paulie's fault that Dump has fallen into irrelevancy, but he can't do anything. Meats has beaten Bomber. That's a big win. I know he didn't go to the Super Bowl or anything, but heck, he's in a stacked AFC. He was in Faz's division before this. He's in Dom's division now. Both of those players are better than him, and that's just okay. Paulie hasn't done anything since I've been in the SML. He gets in the playoffs mostly due to weak divisions and flutters out when he plays stiff competition that doesn't fall to his trap of the same thing over and over. So he is the folding chair. It is not Meats anymore.
All right. DW. You got a
coattails
longer answer than the last one?
I'll ride the coattails of these 3 great answers. I'm going to keep it short and simple. That's kind of how I handle my answers here anyways. He's not – I don't think he's necessarily the new folding chair, but he's definitely in need of a new nickname. It's not fair that poor old Doink over here got a nickname after 2 missed field goals, and Paulie just did 2 in the same game. Come on. I don't know. Faz, you got some suggestions?
Oh man, I'm definitely removing Coach P, especially after watching the clock management. I know it's not the real thing, that prestigious high school New England football, but I think I'm definitely taking Coach P away. I'm down with Babysitter P for sure after what he told us in chat today.
Pushing it to the right P. Pushing it right P.
Pushing it to the right P.
Pushing it to the right P.
All right, so let's move on to topic 3. We'll start with you, Doink. And this one I kind of thought of, we saw Fig quit this season. We saw Tiny quit this season for the umpteenth time. Does kind of the false inflating of these guys maybe make them expect to win more and then get them disappointed when it doesn't work out? We've seen, every time Spooky wins a game, Spooky could really make some noise. Spooky's got like a 300 winning percentage. Same with Tiny, Fig. Guys pump these guys up in chat, and then I just wonder, do you think maybe they start to believe it and then start kind of falling apart when they don't win?
That's an interesting question. I see both sides. I guess I'll start by saying shout out to Pushing It Right P for coming in chat afterwards and taking that loss like a man and not rage quitting, not, being all pissed off and whatnot, just taking his lumps basically. I think some of it is guys get this idea that, if I'm not winning games, why am I here? And every time it's always the same conversation. It's, when guys are getting burnt out, it's no one's here. Madden sucks. The amount of broken things in this game, so on and so forth. The amount of rage-inducing bubble screens that go off helmets, that go the other way, you name it. But at the end of the day, we're all here for the community. So I think when guys rage quit, I think part of that is that the game is just so frustrating to play. I think that is the biggest portion of it. But some of it also, someone like Spooky. Spooky has had a couple instances where he's ripped off, even 5-6 wins in a row. It hasn't been against the best competition, but he gets these random hot streaks, and then he goes and throws 8 interceptions the next game, and then throws another 7 interceptions, and he's back to, hating the game, not wanting to be here, you name it. So I think it plays a role. I think the biggest factor in it all is just Madden itself is infuriating at times, and it is glitchy and broken for each and every one of us, but that's not why we're all in the SML. It's not why we're all here.
All right, Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it's the false inflating from others. I think it's the false inflating from within. Madden is Madden. There's a reason why we see the same dudes winning at the same. When the cycle starts, you kind of establish who the best guys are. And we've seen it. The Big Five have only been the only 5 people that have been in the Super Bowl. And look who's there. Doink has kind of thrown a wrench in things this season, but let's see if he can make the next step. But otherwise, it's Bomber and it's QP on the other side. And so I think these guys like Spooky and Fig and Tiny, they start to think they're better than they are. And then when they lose, they get more frustrated, even though that's the more likely outcome. For me, people false inflated me when I beat Prime and Faz back to back. But I knew that was nothing. I'm not that good. I lose to Spooky. I see Dom on the schedule. I see Bomber on the schedule. I see Prime. I'm realizing I'm probably not going to make the playoffs. Now, I could have said, oh my God, I just beat Faz and I just beat Prime. I'm the best player in this league. And then I would have been upset when reality hit me. So I think it's just a matter of hey, be competitive, but also realize what your ceiling is. And so for some people, that might be a Super Bowl, and that might be 12, 13 wins. Some people's ceiling might be 8 wins. And I think being realistic with that will help you when you lose. Because when I lose, I don't get upset. I can know I can lose any game. So I think you just need to be real with yourself, false inflating from other people or not.
Okay. DW, what do you think? Give us your 2 words on this.
Yeah, I'm making short and sweet. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think the false inflating, I think it helps raise their overall morale, which, we all want to be good at this game. We all want to try. I mean, Matt can sit there and put himself down all day, but Matt's a pretty damn good player. But my problem is, I'm just going to turn this into a DW down. Some of these guys just refuse to change what they're doing. Quit sucking. That's that easy. I sucked the first 3 seasons of this blip. And then I went to Faz, I went to all my other boys and everything else. I was like, what am I doing wrong? And I still suck. But I'm not quitting. I mean, come on. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right.
Stop
Well, I thought
sucking.
we were going to get something good there, but we'll take what we get.
Yeah, I kind of dumbed it down. Shouldn't have.
Yeah. DW hasn't quite learned that the more you talk, the better you do on this show. But Faz, go ahead. Show them how it's done.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I don't know if I can do too much better than stop sucking. That was a good one. But yeah, this is a very interesting prompt. One of the better ones I think I've had in First and Goal. I think it's a good combination of what Matt and Doink said. Obviously, like everybody knows, like Madden is infuriating. This game is absolutely rage-inducing. It does more to make people want to spike controllers than I think any other game I've probably played. And then I do think that Matt, like Matt said, the self-inflation is too much. I think some of these guys, you just kind of need to see where you're at in the grand scheme of things. And what you're good at, what you're bad at. I'm not the best runner in the world. I would get myself frustrated if I just insisted on trying to run and I just kept running into a wall. So you kind of have to avoid that. So I think it's a good combination of that. I do think that the narratives is kind of what makes the SML what it is, and I think that the positive ones are good to keep pumping in. I just think people need to be a little more kind of in check. Like, all right, so they're hyping me up as a possible division winner, but the sky is not falling if I don't win a division. I think we need to get a nice balance of that, especially because some of the negative narratives, they can get ruthless, man. I remember when Doink lost to Figs, we were laying it on pretty dang, or not Figs, to Fins. I don't know why I always say Figs and Fins in the same. When he lost to Fins, man, we were laying it on. I remember sitting there looking at the screen like, dude, this is pretty bad. We might want to chill. Like, I don't know if this guy's going to make it. To his credit, he has, and here he is in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I think part of that might be you just need to understand the narratives are exactly that. It's just a made-up narrative. If you believe it, then one way or the other, it could be a problem. All right, so topic 4, speaking of narratives, why has Dan seemingly got a pass? He only had 1 Super Bowl appearance the entire cycle, and really nobody's talked about it. We'll start with you, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just because he's been successful. He is consistently in the fight for the 1 seed. I think outside of when Doink beat him just now, I think the only time he's ever been knocked out of the playoffs has been by Faz post blip. So someone can fact check me on that. But I don't think there's any shame in losing to Faz. I mean, that's the best, one of the best players in the league, and contending for one of the best players of Madden 22 right now. So what I don't want to give him a pass on, though, is trading Russell Wilson. And that, I think, was a bonehead move by Dan. We've seen, I'm starting to question his team building a little bit after the Herbert move, which is unfair, I guess, because it never really got to pan out. But you trade Russell Wilson. I know he said escape artist messed with his game, blah, 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 blah. But when he has Russell Wilson, you got to play him different. You got to contain. That slows down the pass rush. You got to maybe put your linebacker in a spy instead of any of the various zones that he could play. You got to be conscious of where you put your user and how far maybe you move him past the line of scrimmage, because you got to be conscious of the scramble. So I think Dan's done a little bit of self-sabotaging. I don't think that his team building has been that great, and that's where I'm not going to give him a pass. But as far as his success in Super Bowls, he's losing to Faz, and he's not going 8-8 and then losing to Faz. He's constantly 12, 13, 14 wins, and he's losing to the best player in the NFC probably, or between him. So I don't necessarily think that's a negative.
All right. DW, what do you think?
I think it just comes down to that Dan's a great player and he's also a great member of the league. He's always there helping out people and everything else. He's a favorite. I mean, by most people's standards, he helps out. My thing is he's never really had a terrible season here that I can remember. I don't know. Did he start out when he traded Herbert? Didn't he start out 0-6 or something like that?
Yeah, the Chargers won. He struggled to make the playoffs, but then made it to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever missed a playoff here, though, right?
Not that
No, he is not.
So I mean that says it all right there. I mean he's a good guy and a great player, and I just think that's why he doesn't get razzed that much about the only having the one Super Bowl appearance.
All right, Faz, what do you think?
Yeah, so Dan is one of the best in the league at narrative deflection. He could be a PR guy because the way that he kind of manages the narratives and keeps stuff from getting out is genuinely impressive. And what he's been with this one is, I took the Falcons. It's not, a super team. They're not as good as the Bucks and as the Panthers and as the Browns and blah, 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 blah. But like Matt said, the team building just hasn't really been there. That team wasn't that great to start out. They have Pitts. They've got a couple pieces. He did make season 1 on admittedly a little bit of a fluke, as NYT will tell you. But he did get there. He did win. And that bought him a lot of time. Then he had Wilson, and then he just, every season was losing to me in what was the NFC Championship game. So I think that kind of kept him afloat. But, I do think that he probably has gotten more of a pass than he deserves. He hasn't really turned that Falcons team into too much. You don't look at a lot and you're like, wow, that's a really dangerous player. He got Javonte Williams, who's been very good, but his offense is just Pitts and just Javonte Williams. That's it. His defense, he's built up a pretty good defensive line. He's developed Jonathan Abram well. But as a whole, he really hasn't done a lot with the Falcons, which is surprising by his standards. So I think basically he's bought himself time with that. The Falcons aren't a good team narrative, but at this point we should have probably seen more.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking 5-6 seasons of team building. If they're not a good team by now, that's on you.
Yeah.
Doink, what do you think? You just knocked him out.
Yeah, that was just an absolute mess of a game, including a big safety. But I think he's gotten a pass for. I mean, all three guys here already kind of hit the main points on the head. He gets a pass for being consistently good to great every single season. He's one of the best teams in the league. He's firmly in that Big Five. And this is going back even pre-blip. He started out slow, and since then, I mean, he probably has the best or second best regular season and overall record in the league of anybody, even with those playoff losses thrown in there. But he's gotten a pass for not only being consistently good and for being a great guy in chat, being helpful in chat. He's not constantly talking himself up. When someone, you have someone like Dump who's just going off in chat about himself, how he's going to, how he owns Faz or whatever because he beat Faz, 18 real weeks ago or whatever. My point exactly. That leads to, getting targeted with more, harped on your moves and stuff. That being said, he should not be getting a pass for both times just having a great quarterback, having Herbert pre-blip and having Russell Wilson post-blip, which getting Wilson was a stroke of genius. That was a great move by him. But then sending both those guys out so he can then win with a lesser quarterback, yes, he showed he can win with Teddy Bridgewater, which is insanely impressive. Second most impressive thing we saw this cycle besides Q and the Lions. But he almost hamstrings himself so that it's then, he either has an excuse or it's more impressive when he does win. And his team building in that regard should not be getting a pass. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's one man I have to thank for my playoff victory over him, and that's Will Holt.
Yeah, going from Russell Wilson to Will Holt. Questionable decision at best. All right, so that's going to do it for this week's episode. And with 135 points, Faz is going to be our winner. DW, with 52 points, you are the by far loser of the episode. Definitely got to learn to just draw it out a little more. But Faz, these 30 seconds, all yours.
Well, I would be remiss if I wasn't taking this time to really just thank my team. I knew if I put them in a position where, they could pull it out for me in the clutch, I knew that they would. I own this team. I coach this team. I run this team. And, they've really done well for me. So I just knew put them in a chance to succeed and the New York Giants would come through. And they sure did that with just a big old.
All right, so that's going to do it for this week's episode of First and Goal. Looks like it's about 6:55, so we may be able to get this loaded before Doink and Faz kick off for the NFC Championship. But good luck, guys, and hopefully you put on a good show. Thanks for being on.
May the force be with you.
Thanks for listening to First and Goal. Be sure to check out Mad Bomber TV on Twitch and YouTube for the latest from the SML. And we'll see you next time on First and Goal.